Casey.
I'm Luke.
And what is it that brings you into the office today?
About my son's disability. He's autistic, and I don't know. I see a lot of stuff online, mainly about bullying and things like that in schools. So I get a little concerned when he goes to school, and also when he gets older. So
And how old is he?
he's 3, going on 4 right now. So I mean, he's still got some time before he gets to the older kids. But like, our daughter's in 1st grade, and she's already experiencing bullying. So I can only imagine how it might be for him.
So it sounds like you're concerned about the bullying effect, not so much online, but what could happen to him in the school system.
Yes, directly, just because of his disability, the fact that he doesn't know anything, or not, he doesn't know anything, but he's not fully aware of the situations and things that are going on around him.
Now, how do you feel like the teachers at the school that your daughter goes to handles bullying?
I think they're trying. I just don't think it's to the fullest. I mean, granted, there's only so much they can do, but the way she's getting bullied, it doesn't seem like much is coming of it with the teacher's intervention. So,
Has something happened to where you feel like they're not doing much about it?
I'd say more or less due to the fact that it's continuous, and it seems like how the kids bullying her seems to be progressively getting worse.
Okay. Have you gone other routes other than just the school system to deal with the bullying with your daughter?
No, not yet.
Is that something that you've talked about or thought about doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting the superintendent involved if need be.
Okay. Has bullying been an issue more than just this year, or has it been going on for just this school year?
It is the last school year with the same exact student. They're in the same exact class again, and they share the same bus, so she pretty much has to deal with him the entire day.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So have you guys talked to the parents of the other child?
No, my wife was planning on doing so, but when, I don't know.
Okay. So it sounds like the bullying with your daughter has influenced the concerns that you have with your son.
Yeah.
And is your son currently in school?
Yes.
And what grade is he in?
He's in pre-K only because of his special needs. So, I mean, he's just going to keep continuously going to pre-K until he can advance into kindergarten and 1st grade and so on and so forth.
Okay. Are the teachers at that school going to stay with him so that he's familiar and they're familiar with him? Or is he going to get new teachers each year?
To be honest, I don't know. I guess it's more or less up to the school on whether or not he's going to be assigned new teachers. But from my understanding, there's one specific group of teachers who deal solely with the kids with special needs.
Okay. Well, that sounds like it's a good thing because it'll give them an understanding of your son's needs as well as other kids' needs in the class.
Yeah.
Have you talked about other options, possibly besides public school, that might be an option for your family if bullying persists?
We've talked about private schools for our son, who's a special needs child. Not so much for our daughter, but only due to the fact that the schools we were talking about were geared towards autistic children. So
Okay.
It wouldn't really apply so much to her.
Okay. Do you feel like he needs more attention for his special needs, or do you feel like he's getting the necessary needs met at the school he goes to?
At the school, yes. I mean, granted, he's only there for a couple hours, but he's also got all his other therapies that he goes to. So with all of them combined, he's receiving what he needs.
Now, you mentioned that you don't feel that you would put your daughter in any kind of special schooling right now. Do you think that the bullying has affected her negatively?
No, she's a pretty positive person, and she knows what we tell her, and so she'll apply that the best she can at school. When she's being bullied, she does all the right things.
Okay.
So we just try to positively reinforce her that when the bullying happens, hey, you know, this, that, or the other. So, and she's been doing pretty good with that.
Sounds like you're really trying to make a positive impact and kind of stomp out bullying versus, encourage her to feed into it or make more of a negative light on something that's such a negative situation anyways. How is she doing in school besides the bullying?
She's doing pretty good.
Does she enjoy school?
That she does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And does she help your son with any kind of educational stuff?
No. She's very energetic, so it's kind of hard to keep her to focus sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she's out of school, she just kind of wants to do her own thing. So getting her to actually help, I mean, she will, but it's kind of when she picks and chooses.
Okay. Is there anything that your son likes to do as far as educational wise?
Some motory functions, like trying to get him to put a block in a bucket or something like that, or in its respective shape hole,
Mm-hmm.
or he'll watch. It's called Signing Time,
Mm-hmm.
and it teaches basically sign language, and he loves watching that. So,
does he know sign language?
Some.
Some. Is that
Yeah.
how he communicates?
As of right now, yeah, it's the only way that we found that he can remotely communicate with us. I mean, he has other ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, if he wants to watch something on TV, he knows the remote functions along with the TV, so he'll bring us the remote, which lets us know that he wants something to do with the television.
Oh,
so
that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you first came in here, you had concerns about the bullying that was happening and you were seeing online. Can you tell me how that came about?
It's just random. It's mainly off of the social media, Facebook. I'll see random posts that either my friends who their child is autistic, they'll post an article stating how this child dealt with this scenario and this is what's happening, or with the whole ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, there was a kid who was an autistic kid in high school who was bullied and they dumped not ice water on him, and it just always has that concern in the back of my head that, hey, this is stuff that's going on around us. What's going to happen when my kid gets older? Is he going to be subjected to these same things, or is it everything going to go along easy breezy? So it's just a fear of the unknown of what could potentially happen to him that other kids might find hilarious just because he's not on the same page.
How, as a parent, do you think that you can help your child in the future?
Well, hopefully him and his sister will be in the same school, so he'll always have her there. Worst case scenario, she can interject or aid him, but as he progressively gets older and mentally can understand more of what we're saying and whatnot, we'll just instill into him, hey, same thing we do with our daughter. This is what bullying is. This is what they're trying to do. This is what you can do to avoid it, or whatever the case may be.
And what is it that you tell your daughter now that you can do to avoid it?
Just basically use her manners to voice how she does appreciate what's going on. Let whatever authoritative figure there, whether it be a teacher, bus driver, whatever the case may be, to let them know what's going on. Not to feed into it by getting angry at the person or lashing out, because that's what they're trying to do essentially, is to get a rise out of the individual.
So do you feel like her and your son being in the same school will help any kind of bullying that's going to occur, or do you feel like she would kind of be a protector for your son per se?
She really is. I would say she's a protector for him. If some other kid is doing something around him that we wouldn't approve of, she normally is quick to say something about it. So I don't think there'd be a problem there.
So it sounds like she's a really good big sister.
Yeah.
She's willing to stand up for her little brother regardless what happens.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's a good trait to have in any individual.
Yes, it is.
So how does your wife feel about the bullying that goes on online?
Oh, we're pretty much on the same page. It's more or less, we can't believe that this stuff's actually happening, and people find it hilarious or get the rise out of it that they're looking for.
Now, do you have the support system for if there were bullying to occur with your son? Do you have support to kind of help deal with that at home?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have family, friends. So.
And they're all understanding of your son's condition, and they understand that he does have a little bit of delay, and that can cause him to be an easy target.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know what else to ask. Hold on. event that bullying did occur with your son, how do you think that you would handle it? If he's not talking, how do you think you would find out?
I guess depending upon the type of bullying that occurred, whether it be something physical or something dumped, poured, or smeared on him or whatever, I'd obviously find out by seeing it. But I would hope that somebody from his school, a teacher or a fellow teacher or administrator, would see it and notify us. With the lack of communication verbally from him, it would be very hard to tell if it wasn't something that was obvious.
Do you feel like with him, he's able to understand a negative situation in general, whether it's a negative person being around him or a negative situation where it could potentially get worse? Do you feel like he understands any of that?
I really don't. I mean, he understands when there's not a very good feeling in the room, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Either tension coming from someone or whatever you want to call it. He'll definitely respond to somebody not being nice to him. So he'll probably scream, if anything. So I'm sure somebody would hear. If somebody pushed him or poured something on him, he would definitely vocally let you know. I mean, it might not be actual words, but he would scream or yell or cry or whatever.
He would get someone's attention.
Yeah.
It sounds like. Is he capable of getting someone's attention by pulling on clothes or by that kind of sort, or it would just be a scream? You
think? I think right off the bat it would be a scream, and somebody would probably have to go to him. The only time he really pulls at or he'll try and grab you and turn you is if it's either myself or my wife. Other than that, he won't do that to anybody else. I mean, unless he's fully aware of who they are. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure if he saw his teacher, he would probably go to her. And just because he knows the face, he's comfortable with the person, and he knows that person is going to help him.
Now, your biggest concern was the bullying online with social media, as well as the possibility that could happen with your son and you not knowing. Is there any plan in place for helping to prevent it in the classroom? Like, does your wife or you go volunteer in the classroom to make a presence known, or are there any plans for you to be right there with him during the next few years or during any of his schooling?
During the schooling, it's kind of difficult for me to be there, but that's actually not something we've talked about. But with you bringing it up, that's definitely something I'll bring up to the wife, so that way, if she can, I mean, which she would be able to, provided she doesn't have any appointments or anything, but that would definitely be a good thing to do, so that way he knows, hey, you know, one of my parents is coming in every so often. I know somebody will always be there. I can trust the teacher. I know I can trust my mom. So it'll send that positive reinforcement to him that he's in a good environment.
I'm glad you mentioned positive reinforcement. So with maybe your wife going in to volunteer in the classroom or to make a presence, I do agree that would be a positive situation for your son. He sees that connection between your wife and his teachers, or granted other people that are in the school, and understand that if mommy has that relationship, then it's okay for me to have that relationship, and understand that if something happens, I can go to whomever. In the event that something does happen at the school and you don't find out, are you prepared for what could possibly be? Do you have an action plan if something happens and you guys aren't aware of it until maybe the end of the school year, or if it happens and it's a reoccurring pattern and you start seeing behavioral changes in him?
I would definitely go straight to the teacher, ask if she's even aware of anything, and I mean, whether she says yes or no, I would just keep going up the chain, go to the school administrator, the superintendent, or however high I needed to go.
Do you know how the school handles bullying? Do they have a bullying policy?
I know there's a zero tolerance policy for bullying, but I mean the manner in which they go about dealing with it, I was never really made abreast on how that works.
So since it's a zero policy or a zero tolerance policy, and your daughter's being bullied, how is that being handled? is the bullying occurring in the classroom as well as on the bus, is what you said. So if it's a zero tolerance, do you have any feelings towards the fact that it hasn't been handled yet?
Since you bring that up, I would say more or less, with it being a zero tolerance policy, it doesn't seem like much is happening to it because whenever we ask our daughter, the steps of what happened, what she did, and when it comes down to it, she ends up telling, her teacher, the bus driver, and then, okay, what did they do about it?
Mm-hmm.
And it more or less seems like she just gets told, okay, well, he's going to be getting a phone call home, which is fine and all, but at the same time, is that really solving the problem? So like you said, if it's a zero tolerance policy, what's actually being done to make it that zero tolerance and, positive area for the kids to go to school? Because if it continues and continues and they keep getting same class year after year, then she's going to get to the point where I don't even want to be in school.
With this child being in her class last year as well as this year, were you afraid that it was going to be this way, or did you have hopes that it wasn't going to be bullying again like it was last year?
We had the very good feeling that it was going to be the same and progressively get worse as they get older.
Given that you felt that it was going to get worse, were there steps that you could have taken or steps that you can take now to remove her from that class?
Looking back on it, there's probably something we could have done to change. We tried to get her previous teacher from last year, but we couldn't do that. I suppose there's still, it's one of those, we never know until we ask to get her changed out.
So at this time, it's not something that you've asked. It hasn't been something that you deal with the bullying the way that it's occurring now, more on a daily basis versus a future basis.
Yeah,
that's how it sounds. Is we're talking with your daughter when she comes home from school, and we're trying to come up with a plan to maybe make the next day a little bit better. You're giving her the tools and the necessary steps that she should take to try to avoid it, but it seems like this little boy is adamant about making your daughter's life kind of difficult at this time.
Yeah.
Have there been any thoughts or talked about his home life? Have there been any indications as to whether or not this little boy maybe doesn't have a good home life?
We've talked about it. There's so much we could think that could possibly be happening without being judgmental of what's actually going on or the family themselves. But,
at this point, though, you haven't talked to his family?
No. We've gone over the fact is, is he doing it to be mean? Is he doing it because he likes her? And we've kind of geared ourselves toward the fact that he's doing it because he likes her, because the other day, he tried kissing her on the nose and the cheek and whatnot. Okay. So we figured it might be out of one of those little kid, oh, I like her, but regardless of what he's being told by the teacher, whether his parents are telling him anything or not, or our daughter straight face telling him, hey, this is wrong, stop doing this, he's still not getting the hint of what he's doing is actually bullying, and it's wrong, and it's not helping the environment any.
So given that you said that you would talk to your wife about possibly volunteering in your son's classroom, is that something that she might want to do for your daughter as well, to get an understanding of exactly when and why these things are occurring?
It would probably be a good idea, or at least, be there during the lunch period.
Is the lunch period the time that things are generally occurring?
I don't know. It seems like it's happening more within the classroom, more on the bus itself.
Okay.
But with at least her being there for the lunch period, he's still there, so he sees that, hey, her parents are showing up, so, she can have that time where from the time we drop her off to the time she eats lunch, the wife can be there and be like, hey, what's been going on? How's your day been going? So on and so forth. Deal with any issues. If anything has happened in that time period, she can go ahead and address it with the teacher or the staff in any way necessary. And then, for the remainder of the school, we can do the same thing when she gets home. Hey, how did this go? Did anything else happen? And then you can address it as need be.
Have you guys talked to the staff at all regarding the bullying issues?
No, we actually plan on doing that here this following week when she goes back to school.
And she rides the bus to and from school?
Just from school. Since her brother goes to school in the morning as well at the same time, we just end up driving both of them up there.
Okay. And so the morning routine is not a problem at all?
No.
Because she doesn't ride the bus. So it's only the afternoon that, you know, they're a little restless. They've been in school all day, ready to act up, ready to get off the bus and get home.
Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like the bullying issues with your daughter are occurring more so now, since school has been going on for several weeks. You haven't talked to the teachers yet, but you plan on doing that next week.
Yes.
And you and your wife are going to talk about possibly volunteering, getting your face in the classroom for not only your son but your daughter, and kind of get an understanding of maybe the classroom rules and the settings and what's going on with the other kids as to why your daughter's getting bullied, and the possibility that your son is, maybe we just don't know at this point.
Yeah.
So next time we talk, we'll pick back up on maybe what your wife found out during volunteering, possibility of you guys talking to the other child's parent,
yeah,
and seeing where we left off.
Sounds good.